I'm Natalie Wood, and I'd like to welcome you to Jesus for Asia Now. I have my husband John here with me on the show today.
Hi, darling.
You know, we've got a lot of different projects that we talk about on Jesus for Asia.
Yes.
And it's all over Asia. And
Yes.
the main thing is we want our viewers to see what God is doing, and also that there's more work to be done out there.
A lot of opportunities to get involved with God's work.
Right.
Even though the time is late, there's still lots to do.
Right, there is. And today we want to talk about a people group that has been unreached.
Yes.
Until recently, it's beginning to be reached.
That's right. And that doesn't mean, I mean, that's just like there may be thousands of villages, and maybe two or three or 5 or 6 villages are being reached. And that's exciting, and we're going to learn about that, but there's still a lot more that could be done.
Right. And it's about a couple, Pete and Jessica.
Yes.
And you met Pete in the Philippines. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, back in 2011, we were at a camp meeting, and one of my good friends there, Filipino friends, introduced me to his uncle. And his uncle was talking about these villages that he had found way up in the mountains, as he's living in the lowlands. He's a teacher, and he had a heart to reach up there. And so I was looking around, and I scraped together about $200, gave that money to him, and didn't hear from him for several years. And then his nephew started telling me about what he had done with that money, and I was so impressed and so encouraged and so amazed. You know, it's neat to see people whose hearts are really in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, who are full on, and they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it to see people learn about Jesus and to be a blessing.
Right. So we want to start out with some video just introducing the project.
Yes.
Mindoro, the 7th largest island in the Philippines. The mountains separate the island into 2 provinces, rough and rugged Mindoro Occidental to the west, and the more prosperous Mindoro Oriental to the east. Not only rich in agriculture, but also in culture, but not for these people. Mangyan, a generic name for the 8 indigenous groups of Mindoro. Once the only inhabitants of Mindoro. Coastal dwellers at first, they have moved inland and into the mountains to avoid the influx and influence of foreign settlers such as the Tagalogs. To avoid their conquest, influence, and religious conversion, today the Mangyans live secluded in remote parts of Mindoro. Without proper education and personal hygiene, they live with animistic beliefs, not to mention the scarcity of resources for each family's table. Mangyans continue with their transient life because of fear due to some of their beliefs, rituals, and longtime customs and traditions. Mindoro Outreach is headed by a couple with a big vision to uplift thousands of these tribal groups. They choose sacrifice instead of comfort, giving themselves in doing missions to the least of these people, giving formal education, teaching proper hygiene, freeing them from the bondage of traditions and animistic beliefs. Wow, you know, there's so much that they needed to have help with. And Pete, as a teacher, went there first to give them education. In fact, that was the original agreement, was that it was education only, no religion. And we'll hear a little story. We've got a miracle story coming up at the end.
Yeah.
So I just want to let our viewers know you don't want to go away. You want to watch, continue to watch.
That's right.
But Pete and Jessica have given their hearts to these people, and they see the promise of eternity for each one of these lives. And it's really neat. What was it like when they first met these people?
Pete tells me that the first time that they went to see them, the people ran away. When they showed up, they just ran away. And come to find out, they don't trust civilized people because they get taken advantage of a lot, because they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, they don't know how to do any mathematics. And so they get taken advantage. So when they came up to them, they just all disappeared. And so he figured out that it was because of his clothes. They don't trust anybody with clothes. So he decided to go and meet them.
Dressed like they were.
Yeah.
Which is in a G-string?
Just a G-string, loincloth, G-string, and nothing else. And then they were willing to talk to him and was able to make connection and start working with them.
This fear they had of people wearing clothing or being educated from outside.
Right.
Where did this come from? I mean,
Well, the mainstream Filipino thinks of them as uneducated, lazy, backwards. In fact, you'll hear Pete say in the beginning of this next video that a leader in the mainstream Filipino village called them in front of a lot of people barely better than monkeys. And so there's a lot of prejudice and looking down upon these people. So nobody's really reaching out to them and trying to help them because they're thought of as worthless.
Okay, let's watch that clip now.
Okay.
Itong si Mayor Lonito, yung Alangan tribe natin, sinabihan mismo siya ng barangay captain in front of many people, kayong mga mangyan ay mataas-taas lang kayo ng kaunti kaysa sa mga unggoy.
Pag ang mangyan eh, hindi walang alam, walang edukasyon, pag agawin ng lupa, alis. Pag ninakaw ang isang kalabaw, alis din. Walang karapatan, yung karapatan at kalayaan mag-abol mula.
What can we do? What can I do as a teacher? So we thought na the only thing that can free the mangyas is through education. The development might be very slow, pero natitiyak natin na yung mga educated na mga tao, hindi na pwedeng lukuhin ng Tagalog at hindi na sila pwedeng abusuhin ng government authorities.
Naka-canvas ako na para sa stipend ng mga guro. And then selling soya milk and tokwa for the needs of the school. Yung lahat na kikitain doon mapupunta sa stipend ng guro at sa school. So yun yung aking part, no? Na kapag ako ay nagka-canvas, kapag nalaman ng aking customers and subscriber na we are working for the mangyans, tinutulungan nila ako na bumili kayo dito kasi this is for the mangyans. Only 5. From 20, only 5 remaining.
I am working with the DepEd. I am a public school teacher. Yung salary na natatanggap ko, it's not for us. We'll just get the tithe and the offering, and we'll just get for food for the family, and everything goes to the work. Here, ang mga estudyante na pumapasok dyan sa ating school, ay halos tayo na rin ang nagpapakain. Kasi yung mga mangyan parents na yan, every morning, they're going to leave to hunt for food, may iwan yung mga estudyante. Kaya kapag nagluto ang missionary, it would be unselfish na para lang sa kanya. Kaya ang ginagawa ng missionary, luluto na siya ng kaunti, papalibutan na siya ng mga estudyante, at ang sabi nga ng teacher na ng missionary ay, "Sir, sa tuwing tatakal pala ako ng bigas, ay una na silang lulunok ng laway. Kasi they are not going home every day to their during lunchtime because there's no food there in their house, in their individual houses. So they would stay in the school and wait for the teacher to cook food. Maybe the teacher would give them. So, syempre, we cannot teach unselfishness if we ourselves are selfish. So, tinitake na namin sa consideration yun na magpapadala kami ng kaunti, ubos din agad. Magpapadala kami ng marami, ubos din agad. Kasi parang tayo na nagsushoulder ng kanilang pananghalian sometimes.
So the Lord expanded their ministry by showing them the needs of the children there for lunch.
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine the kids? They can't, coming to lunch at school and then not having anything and then watching someone else eat.
Oh.
So there's a lot of malnutrition issues in those villages.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, and cleanliness is obviously an issue that we saw in the first clip with that little baby with his face all muddy and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next video we want to talk about a little bit of the fear that they live with, the superstition and the fear.
This is a big deal because, and he doesn't really explain it much in the video, but with this thing called bukao, they believe that you can't bury a body because when you dig in the ground, it upsets the spirits in the ground. So they'll put the body in a tree, and then, of course, it starts to smell, and so a lot of times the village will just leave and go to a different place. and leave their crops and whatever. And so this is part of the superstition that binds them into this fearful way of life and of always having to move. And so this is kind of what that clip is about.
Okay. They walked 4 hours to reach this Mangyan village. It is surrounded by rivers and is considered a haunted place, for it is near the burial place for the Mangyan. They are transient because of their belief that when they bury their dead, they should hang the lifeless body on a tree, and then the corpse will turn into a man-eating monster, or bukao.
Here. They put here the dead body. It used to have cellophane over here, but the flood took that away now.
This superstitious belief continued until the arrival of Manuel, their teacher.
Nung una, ang alam namin, ang dahilan lang ay because of food and economic status. But when we immersed to the culture, to the Mangyan people, we found out na sila nga ay imprisoned pala ng superstitious, ng belief na yung bukaw, takot na takot sila sa bukaw. Kaya kapag may namatay, nawawala sila kaagad sa isang lugar. Kaya mahirap silang tulungan, hirap silang tulungan ng government kasi kapag tinulungan sila ngayon, ay anytime ay mawawala sila.
Okay, so that's the bukao. That's comes out like a man-eating monster, and so they take off. One thing I want to point out is that the villages that we're seeing in this video are more of the more higher class. Most of them are wearing clothes, maybe still be dirty and everything, but they're wearing clothes. The farther you go into the mountains,
The more you have to wear the loincloth, and the prospects are worse and worse.
right. Now they did an aerial survey in an airplane once, and they saw just mountain after mountain with thousands and thousands of villages that are completely untouched.
Wow.
Up in there.
So there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, which is why it's so exciting what they're doing.
Right.
Somebody's starting something.
Right. In this next video, we've got a teacher talking about going to his fellow Mangyan. So he's a Mangyan himself, and he's educated, and now he's teaching there.
Praise the
So
Lord.
let's watch this video.
Ako po ay isang edukadong Mangyan, kaya ako nandito dahil yan din ang aking pangarap nung una. Sabi ko, Panginoon, kung ako'y nakapagtapos ng pag-aaral, dadalihin po ninyo ako sa kapwa kong Mangyan. Mas marami pang mga Mangyan doon pa sa kabundukan ang hindi pa nakakaalam pabalita ng Diyos. At ganun din sa kanilang mga edukasyon, hindi nila alam ni magbilang ni magbasa.
The nice thing din na nangyari is the volunteer teachers are from student summer canvassing program ng LE. So, yung mga estudyante, nag-stop na sila ng school and then join sa missionary dito sa bundok. Sila na yung nag-teach.
Alam po ninyo, sa unang taon ko ay ayaw po nilang maligo, ayaw po nilang magbasa kahit magbasa lang sa tubig. Sinikap ko na turuan sila, subalit talaga mga 5 buwan, ayaw nilang lumapit sa tubig dahil sabi nila, sir, napakalamig dahil ito kultura namin, ayaw namin maligo. So dala-dala ko yung sabon, dala-dala ko yung shampoo, dala-dala ko yung toothpaste, toothbrush. So tinuturuan ko sila sa ilog, ako po yung nauna, tapos sabi ko, tumingin kayo sa akin, paano gagawin ko, yan po ang inyong gagawin.
So he had to show them even the basics.
Yeah, did you see the kids' hands, how dirty they were?
I know.
Wow. And he eats with those hands, and
Everything.
yeah.
All right, this next video talks a little bit about some of the needs there.
Okay.
Minsan wala pa akong pagkain, kaya minsan umiyak na lang po ako, hindi ako makababa. Minsan ako'y pumupunta lang sa bahay, makipagpintuhan para mawala lang ang gutom. Ang lugar na ito ay napakainit. wala kang makuhang pagkain, tuyot lahat. As in, wala kang makuha, wala kang gagarden man po ako, gagawa man ng garden. Pag isang buwan, dilig ng dilig, mamaya naman ay tuyo naman. Kaya wala po akong maasahan.
Ang tingin sa kanila ng mga Tagalogs ay tamad, pero hindi sila tamad. Pero paano ka magsisikap? Paano ka tatanim sa mga situation na kagaya nito? How can you produce vegetables out of these dry grounds? So, ang naiwan na lang sa kanila is yung talagang basically na mountains yan, stony, rocky mountains, na talagang useless kapag magtatanim ka dyan.
Manuel's cousin Mercy, a Hmong herself who has graduated from high school, also became a volunteer teacher for kindergarten. As a teacher, she saw herself as a child in these children's daily situation. They divided one piece of pencil equally between 3 students. They would listen to the teacher tell stories for hours because even the teachers didn't have the basic supplies to teach school. We asked her what the immediate needs of the students were.
Mga lapis po. Kagamitan po. Kasi minsan po kami pag magaligo, isa lang po ang toothbrush namin ng lahat ng aking estudyante. Ang Colgate.
So sa toothbrush, nagsishare-share kayo?
Opo, yung toothbrush. Isa lang po. Tapos, pagkain po. Mga sabon po. Mga damit rin. Mga estudyante.
Breaks your heart, huh?
Yeah, so much need. One toothbrush for all those people.
But it doesn't take much to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, because the supplies is not that expensive over there. I mean, how much does a pencil cost?
Yeah.
Versus dividing one pencil equally between three
students.
Yeah.
We have another little video here where they're talking more about the needs.
Sa paliligo, lahat tinuruan ko sa paghugas ng plato. At natutulog din po ako sa kanilang bahay. Ako'y naghugas sa kanilang bahay ng plato, mga kaldero. Inayos ko talaga, winiwalis ang bahay. Tinutunan ko sila. Dahil ang aming bahay ay nandyan ang manok, nandyan ang aso, nandyan po ang pusa, at kumari pa nga baboy nandun eh. Isa lang po ang aming tulugan. Kaya minsan, pagising namin, may ipot na ang aking kumot, mabaho na, pero ganun pa man tiniis ko dahil gusto ko nga silang maabot para kung anong edukasyon na meron ako sa ngayon, darating balang araw ay mabot din nila kung anong natanggap kong edukasyon, ganun din sa kanila balang araw.
Ang school ay meron lang roof. Thank you dun sa mga people, sa mga tao, sa mga kapatid na nakarinig ng testimony ng Kimali. Brethren, thank you very much. God used you to at least provide that GI sheet there for the roofing of the school. Pero roof pa lang yon. Tingnan nyo wala pa siyang wall, wala pang bahay ang missionaries. Water system, livelihood project natin para sa mga katutubo, yun ang napakalaking needs. And of course, dahil ang ating ministry rito ay faith-based, wala tayong stable sponsor, pero ang kailangan din syempre, we cannot invite other teachers kung wala tayong pang-stipend man lang ay sa present teachers ay kulang pa or bihirang makumpleto yung stipend nila. Kasi hindi lang itong village na ito ang naghihintay. Villages around us there, the Maybasuri, the Bayabasan, near Manango, they are waiting. Meron pang 3 villages ang naghihintay sa south ng Occidental Mindoro. So wala tayong kayang isupply so far. So we are taking the steps forward slowly and risking everything.
So their hearts are really in it.
Yeah, they are.
Taking big risks and going step by step as fast as they can. So it doesn't take a lot to make a big difference in a ministry like this.
Well, let's watch this last little clip from them.
Yeah.
It's talking about why they do what they do.
Yeah.
Love is the motivation to sacrifice for these people. This is not just another good story. These are lives interwoven with culture and a heritage sustained for many centuries. Saving their race is a choice, a decision to be made by people like you and me. Just the precious, dirty little faces, you know, thinking about someday in heaven, they're all clean and they're worshiping the Lord of glory. That'll be
With
a
a
blessing.
golden crown and a white robe of light.
Right.
You know, those pictures really say a lot, don't they?
Yes.
But, you know, a lot of people would say with their complete removal from society, from their lack of education, is it worth investing in these people? And I think this next clip is going to show the kind of faith that these people that know almost nothing, can produce.
This is the miracle story we promised to everyone at the beginning.
That's right. And what do we call this miracle story?
The angel in the G-string. Here we go.
Kung kami ay magsabi tungkol sa Panginoon, ay ang mga pinuno dito na parang ayaw.
Nung pasukin natin ang Kimali, meron tayong kasunduan na edukasyon lang, walang relihiyon. Pero pagkatapos ng almost ng 3 years, nagkaroon talaga ng candidate for baptism dahil nakita ng mga, especially ng mga estudyante natin, ang pagkakaiba ng mayroong Jesus. So, they decided to be baptized dito sa baba. Umuwi sila doon sa Kimali na baptized na. Ikinagalit yun ng chieftain ng leaders. So, sangayon sa kanilang kultura, ang sinumang maglabag sa kultura ay paparusahan at ang parusa ay sa isang horizontal na lag. Pagkatapos habang nakatali, kapag hindi pa isusuko yung halimbawa yung pananampalataya, hindi pa isusuko, itataas yun, itataas. Kaya tinatanong sila every an hour or two, isusuko mo na o hindi pa, tataas at pababayaan sila ng halos nakabaliktad ng mga 24 hours.
Sabi namin sa mga kabataan, kay Dandi, sabi ko, pangawakan natin. Kahit paanong mangyari, nakala ng ating paglaban. Sabi ko talaga.
Natakot po kayo nung sinabi nila na papangawin kayo?
Ay, hindi natakot. Kasi narinig namin talaga ang Panginoon, ganun din ang kanyang dinanas. Kaya sabi namin, handa kami mapapangaw dahil ito ay kaluban ng Panginoon ay.
Kabilang bahay, sa bahay ni Abar, yun namang mga galit na mga matatandang mangyan na sa bahay ng chieftain. Tapos sinakahanda ng lahat, ang bagin, ang lahat, ang mga kahoy gagamitin naroon na. Isang tawag na lang hanggang sa ang Diyos ay nagpakita ng kanyang kapangyarihan. Dumating na isang matandang mangyan. Matandang mangyan na ang sabi ng ating ibang mga estudyante ay hindi pa nila nakikita yung sa Kimali. Pagkatapos dumaan siya doon sa may pintuan ng bahay ng chieftain na pupunta sana siya sa ilog. Ang intensyon ng matanda sa tingin nila ay papunta sa ilog. And then lumingon. Nung makalampas na siya, bumalik, lumingon at kinausap yung chieftain. At ang sabi lang ng matandang mangyan doon sa chieftain ay, sa salitang mangyan, huwag nyo silang paparusahan, wala silang kasalanan. And then wala nang ibang sinabi, tumuloy-tuloy na ng lakad yung matanda at hinintay nila na bumalik, hindi na bumalik. Natakot sila kasi mataas masyado ang respeto ng mga katutubo sa mga matatanda. Namatay na po yung issue ng pagpaparusa sa kanila, hindi sila pinarusahan.
Nung sinabi nila na papangawin ka, ano naramdaman mo?
Hindi po ako natakot.
Bakit hindi ka natakot?
Kasi po kasama ang Panginoon.
Ako'y naniniwala, kami naniniwala na yung mangyan na yon ay maaaring anghel na nagmukhang mangyan, o kung siya man ay totoong mangyan, paano niya nalaman ang issue sa Kimali gayong naroon siya galing sa kabundukan. So, ang pangyayaring yun ay lalo pang nagpasigla sa amin na lalo pa tayong magsumigla sa gawain ng Panginoon.
Amazing faith.
Yeah.
That's
God is with me.
Yeah, and you notice that they weren't preached to, they weren't given Bible studies, they weren't made appeals, there wasn't an evangelistic series. They just saw the difference in a life that had Christ in it.
Right.
And they wanted that.
Right, because originally, we said this at the beginning, originally the agreement was no evangelism, only education.
Yeah, don't teach your religion.
Right, but the children saw the difference and they wanted it.
Yeah, and then that willingness to go through the punishment, the pain, in order to hang on to what Christ, what they'd found in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Really inspiring. What faith.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, and then that Mungyan, that old man, wasn't really clearly told in the video, but as he walked through the village, they all looked at him. They'd never seen him before. Really old guy. Mm-hmm. And he was walking through the village, and they were really shocked. Who is this guy? And he looked over, and it's like he knew what was going on. And he told them, those kids have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Don't punish them. And then he walked down to the river. Now I asked them, is there any other trails from the river? They said, no. There's only one trail to the river. So he went down to the river,
and came back.
They never saw him again. So we believe, and they believe, that this was an angel.
That was sent there to reward the faith of these young people.
Yes.
Yeah.
To strengthen their faith and our faith.
Right.
This is exciting.
That's neat.
Yeah, totally neat. So we can see the kind of investment that is being made for these people, and it inspires me to invest more of what I've been given into God's work.
Yes.
Doesn't it you?
Yes, very much so. And to see the promise, you know, to know the value that Christ placed on the soul. He came, he would have died for one of those dirty-faced people.
Amazing.
You know, he would have died for me. He would have died for one other unreached person.
Yeah,
you know?
and what matchless love that is.
Haven't you been inspired, dear?
So inspired, honey, to do more, to invest more, to love more, and to appreciate God's love more for me.
Right. You know, I would like to invite our viewers to ask the Lord to implant that kind of love in your heart also, and to ask Him what you should do and where you should be in His vineyard. If you would like to send a tax-deductible love gift, please do so to Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or check out our website at jesusforasia.org. Thank you so much for joining us today for Jesus for Asia Now. May God richly bless you as we work together to prepare for His soon coming.